Now on Denver 7 News. 1 year after the tragic shooting at a Boulder King Soopers, the store is getting ready to reopen. We're taking an inside look at the remodeled store and hearing from the community about its impact.
We've been talking a lot about people leaving their jobs in greater than usual numbers, and now we're getting a better picture of the industries growing and shrinking the most. But don't expect restaurants to return to what you knew before the pandemic. The changes to menus and ordering expected to stick around long term.
And more controversy for embattled Mesa County Clerk Tina Peters. Why police arrested her this morning. Thank you for joining us at 4. I'm Jessica Porter. Well, nearly a year after a shooter killed 10 people at the Table Mesa King Soopers in Boulder, the store is ready to reopen. Denver 7 got a behind-the-scenes look at the remodeled store before it officially opens to the public tomorrow morning. Our Ivan Rodriguez spoke to members of the community about what this moment means to them.
For many people who live near this King Soopers, it's exciting to have the store open once again. But for them, it isn't only a matter of convenience. It also shows the strength of rebuilding. Tuesday afternoon, King Soopers opened its doors for Denver 7 to see the changes it made to the store. It's been 11 months since the store was last open, and King Soopers says it wants to reopen by honoring the lives lost in March through a ceremony before officially opening to the public on Wednesday. Some of the changes to the store include large windows across the storefront, higher ceilings, and more light, as well as a reconfigured parking lot. Although it took time to reopen, King Soopers says this store is an important piece of the community and is ready to welcome people back.
This store means so much to this community. It means so much to our associates, and from day one, our associates wanted their store back, and the community continually told us that they wanted this location back. It's, if you will, a gathering place for people, and we are really excited to welcome them back.
On the west corner of the lot, there will also be a tree garden installed to never forget the lives that were lost last March. In Boulder, Ivan Rodriguez, Denver 7.
Ivan, thank you. Colorado passed 3 new laws in hopes of preventing another tragedy like the King Soopers shooting. One prevents people convicted of a certain violent misdemeanor from being able to buy a gun. Another created a special agency under the state health department to make policy recommendations to reduce shootings. And the third allows local governments to pass their own gun laws if they're stricter than the state's. Boulder City Council will also talk about gun violence prevention at its meeting tonight. The man charged in the shooting is in a state hospital in Pueblo for treatment. He was found mentally incompetent to stand trial twice. There is another hearing in March to review his treatment. And we also want to take a moment to pause and remember the 10 people killed in that shooting. Denny Stong, Nevin Stanisic, Ricky Olds, Treylana Bartkowiak, Suzanne Fountain, Terry Liker, Officer Eric Talley, Kevin Mahoney, Lynn Murray, and Jody Waters. We've kept stories from family and friends on our website, thedenverchannel.com, and the Denver 7 Plus app. You could read them anytime.
The Biden administration wants to make sure Americans get the money that the government owes them. Now, they're encouraging you to file your taxes to get the full expanded child tax credit. Many families already received half of the credit as monthly payments last year, and they'll miss the remaining balance unless they file their taxes. Now, even workers without children could qualify for additional tax relief. The earned income tax credit nearly tripled, making millions more Americans eligible. Opioid overdoses are costing the country nearly $1 trillion a year, in addition to all the lives lost. A new report says the opioid crisis needs new strategy and threatens national security. The government commission suggests things like shutting down sources of chemicals used to make the most deadly forms of synthetic opioids like fentanyl. Law enforcement and treatment working together, more research on opioid impacts on the body, and better monitoring for new trends in drug use, and elevating leadership to oversee efforts.
Police arrested Mesa County Clerk Tina Peters this morning. She was taken into custody at a Grand Junction restaurant and released while still there. The arrest is not related to the multiple investigations into data breaches from her office. It's over Peters refusing to hand over an iPad. Police believe she used it, potentially making an illegal recording of a court hearing related to burglary charges that her deputy clerk is facing. They have not said what, if any, charges Peters will face. The family of Devon Bailey has reached a settlement with the city of Colorado Springs. Bailey, a black man, was shot and killed by police in 2019 as he ran away from them. Those officers were investigating a report of an armed robbery in the area, which turned out to be false. The city will pay nearly $3 million to his estate and says it will commit to making significant changes to the police department. Online car dealer Carvana promised to take the stress out of buying a car, but Contact Denver 7 is hearing a different story from Colorado customers. James Cunningham lives in Thornton and says at first it seemed like Carvana was the best deal, saving him thousands on a used car last year. But he says there were problems from the start, including damage that hadn't been disclosed. And even though he paid in full, he says he never received the title. Only one temporary tag after the next for almost 7 months.
I paid them $25,920.20 and never got any documentation that I own the car. No title, no tag receipt, no emission inspections.
Does Colorado need to take action?
Colorado needs to immediately stop them from doing business and investigate.
Colorado law requires title and registration within 60 days of purchase. Contact Denver 7 has found Carvana has had the same issue across the country, with several other states issuing fines and even suspending Carvana's license.
Well, the warnings about isolation and loneliness have been ominous. Researchers warn that it can be worse for your health than obesity, the equivalent of smoking 15 cigarettes a day. During the pandemic, many more people experienced this firsthand.
We all, I think, are better at empathizing now with what it feels like to be lonely and isolated, given the restrictions we've all been living under. And so that's helped to, I think, bring a sense of awareness, but there's still a long way to go.
Isolation is an issue that continues to affect the most vulnerable. Before the pandemic, about a quarter of older adults were socially isolated. Now, AARP estimates it's around 40%.
This time of year can be really difficult for older adults because it's a time when they may start reminiscing about people who've passed away.
AARP is hoping to reach at least 250,000 older adults with what's called Cupid's Crew. Heartfelt cards going to socially isolated seniors. It's as simple as going to wishofalifetime.org and creating a card to mail or deliver.
It's as simple as showing these individuals that there are people out there thinking of them, that they're not alone.
And, as I would travel the world into different countries, I would see how other societies would treat the oldest adults with a sense of reverence and respect. And I would always think to myself, why don't I see more of this in the United States?
Former Olympic skier Jeremy Bloom founded Wish of a Lifetime more than a decade ago. He says he owes a lot of his success to his grandfather.
He came up with a pretty ingenious way to teach me how to ski. He would throw little miniature-sized candy bars down the mountain, and if I was good enough to find them and ski to them, I could eat them.
That's the way to do it. Now, in addition to the Cupid's Crew drive around Valentine's Day, Wish of a Lifetime is making dreams happen for older adults. Many times it's as simple as reuniting with an old friend or a family member or doing something that they always wanted to do. You can nominate a deserving older person on wishofalifetime.org. There's new attention across the country when it comes to concealed carry permits. We're taking a look into the debate.
And the Rockies are extending the contract of manager Bud Black. How much longer he'll be staying with the team? Next.